you.
You get it, right? You get it? I will crash. Thank you.
All right, that's how we're starting this thing. What's up, Barish? What's up, TJ?
Hey, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. So we're here to talk about another historic card tomorrow. So UFC 284 takes place in Perth, Australia. We have Alexander Volkonovsky moving up to lightweight to take on Islam Makhachev for the lightweight belt and the top rank on the pound for pound list. So today we're going to start with talking about who wins and why. TJ, I'll throw it to you first.
All right, so my prediction is Islam wins by decision or submission, but I think decision is more likely. Just because Volkanovski is a guy that can keep a 5-round pace, and he keeps not just a 5-round pace, but an extremely high and fast pace 5-round pace. So I don't see really him getting finished. So I feel like Islam, once he gets a hold of Volkanovski, is going to just drag him down and really wear him out. But that's the thing, too, is like I don't think Volkanovski's been put in a position that Islam's going to put him in. And people don't understand how taxing it is to be under somebody like that with the skill of Islam.
So I have two follow-up questions, actually. And I think it's safe to say that we all think Islam's going to win. So maybe we can just talk about why. But I have a question. So the weigh-ins this time are not 36 hours before, right? They're 24 hours before, I think. Do you think that's gonna have an impact on Islam's like cardio in round 4 and 5?
No, not at all. You're more than rehydrated to where you're gonna be at. Like when you're cutting weight, anyways, there's only so much like refueling you can do before it's like too much. You know what I mean? So 24 hours, in my opinion, is more than enough time for somebody to get back to where they need to be.
It's not his first rodeo either. I'm sure he's done 24-hour weight cuts before.
Yeah, no, he has probably tons of fights at amateur too where he's done this.
That's what I mean.
So, why else do you think Islam's gonna win? What do you think the fight like? Yeah, what's your fight prediction? How's it
submit in a later round? But I mean, yeah, Volk's got a weird neck. I feel like he's like hard to get under his neck. But you know, I think he's gonna definitely lose. I think he's risking a lot by going up in weight. Like, I don't want to like chirp too much, but I mean, he fought Holloway 3 times, and those were 2 close fights, and then he definitely won the third one. Definitely improved his boxing a lot, but I don't think he's going to go up a weight class and put anybody out. I don't see him knocking Islam out. And then also, like, people are delusional when they think that someone's wrestling is good enough, or because he's got strong legs or he played rugby before. I don't know that. I don't know how these things even get brought up. They're kind of ridiculous, like, arguments. But, yeah, I don't think his grappling is there at all. I mean, I think Ortega might have even taken him down. I mean, Islam's definitely going to get him to the ground. There's 0% chance that he couldn't improve learn wrestling in 5 months or 6 months, or even if he had a year. I don't think he's going to be able to compete in that arena. But I would say, though, Volk might have him on the hands if they were boxing, but yeah, I think he's gonna lose overall.
Yes, yeah, I think that Volkanovski's gonna end up in a position like he did against Ortega, and I don't think Islam's gonna miss that. Like, I think from what I hear again, and I know like everybody's biased. I'm biased. I'm really biased on this too, but I feel like his grip, his strength, and his like positioning. I don't know. I feel like if he gets into a position like that, I think he's ending it. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I just mean in the guillotine specifically. It's just that guy's got I don't know. You know what I mean, TJ, right? Some guys are hard to like lock up into certain things.
Like the thing is with Islam is like he does like a lot of like head and arm chokes, and it's hard to like what the size of your neck don't really mean shit in that situation, right? So if Islam gets a tight arm triangle on him, I have a hard time believing Volkanovski's going to get out. And the thing is, people, you have to realize, like, when he got caught in that submission against Ortega, it was late in the fight when they were sweaty and all that. You know what I mean? So if they get in a position like that earlier in the fight, I think that Islam will definitely submit him. The thing is, Volkanovski kind of put himself in those positions in the Ortega fight because he was shooting and he was advancing in the wrestling. So if Volkanovski's on his back, I don't see him like really giving up bad positions when he's on his back. I think he's just probably going to settle and take the the damage or whatever just to get to the end of the round. Personally, that's what I think. Because Volkanovski's a smart fighter.
That's one thing too that I want to give to Volkanovski is how like mentally tough he is too. Like he's got a championship, mindset, a warrior mindset. So I don't think he's going to give up. And I do think other fighters do give up. Like they panic. I feel like. So I don't think he's going to do that. Another question too. Do you guys think that Volkanovski has this style where he like kind of keeps his distance, gets in and gets out real quick? Like, do you think he's going to be able to do that for a round or two? Like, because TJ, you were saying you think it's going to go to decision. Like, how do you see the fight playing out? Do you think there'll be a little bit of that? There'll be a lot of takedowns and ground control. Like, how do you see this fight playing out?
This is the biggest difference between Islam and Khabib, where it's like Islam kind of allows people to get up sometimes, whereas Khabib was the best in the world or of all time really at pinning opponents down and never letting them get up, except for a few of his early UFC fights. Whereas Islam, he kind of isn't as good at pinning people, but his jiu-jitsu is a lot better and his submissions are a lot better. His skill on the ground's better. Like Oliveira was able to get to his feet at least once, maybe twice, if I'm not mistaken. But so I do see Volkanovski potentially getting up off the first, second, maybe even third takedown, because he's a lot better overall in the pace and the action than Oliveira is. In my opinion. So I see maybe for the first round being competitive, like similar to his fight with Arman Tsarukyan, where Arman was able to kind of stalemate it for the first half of the first round. But yeah, after that, that people don't realize, like I said, the pressure of that kind of style weighing on you. Like Volk's going to slow down, and that fast footwork and all that is going to be a lot tougher. And so I see Islam maybe having a hard time in the early moments of the fight getting a hold of Volkanovski because of his movement side to side and his speed, and his boxing is really fast in and out. Whereas Islam hasn't really fought anybody even close to that kind of style yet. But I do feel like the difference is once you get a hold of somebody, not a lot really changes at that point.
I believe Islam when he says he's going to stand with him. I think he's going to actually try and stand for a bit, but I think he's going to go for a takedown. Like if he gets touched, just a couple times even.
You should not stand.
Me and TJ were talking about this yesterday. I was like, what if he's just like, you know what? Like, just like last time, he's like, everyone says this guy can stand, I can stand too. And,
bro, he threw caution to the wind against Oliveira. He was marching forward, swinging like crazy, chin up. Like, the wrestlers always want to keep their chin out, like head up. They don't want to get their head snapped out. Like,
I was screaming at the TV when he was doing that. I'm like, no, please don't.
Yeah. Because can you imagine? It would be so stupid. Like if he got caught by a wild punch. That's why I think someone like literally Chandler would have probably a better chance at like catching Islam, because he's a decent. He actually is a decent wrestler, and he's got those like weird punches, and
that's how Islam got caught, and his only loss was just like a loopy wild punch. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the potential's there. I'm sure he's gotten a lot better since then, but like I said, Volkanovski's on levels and levels above the people he's fought in that regard.
Yeah. I just don't think Volk has the power, because like, man, the guy didn't put out all these people he's fought. Like I just don't think you can go up a weight class and then put out a giant 155er who could, I could see Islam going up to 170 and snatching that belt off Leon real quick. Yeah. So I think that's what I think. But yeah, I'm curious to see, because I think he's gonna go out and like I think he kind of doesn't care. Because in that last fight with Oliveira, that was hilarious, man. Like I was like, oh, I was getting nervous. Like,
yeah,
bro, my heart rate on my watch was so high, it was sending me warnings, man. I was like, that was right there too. We were going crazy. That was very very stressful, very stressful. But you know what? Like Islam, like after the fight, even like we there was a celebration for his championship. I was like, bro, I couldn't even sleep the night before. Like I was just watching videos. I was getting stressed. He's like, why are you stressed, brother? Like he's the calmest guy ever. Like, and I think, like, I don't know, Barish, TJ, have you seen him that reckless on his feet before? Like, is that? I don't think he's ever been. I don't think I've ever seen him
calculated, dude.
He is. He's got the lowest, like, or the best defensive striking. Like he's taking the least amount of hits, per fight per minute.
Yeah.
I just Volkanovski's not Charles Oliveira. That's the only difference in this fight. You know what I mean? Like Charles Oliveira doesn't really fight smart overall. You know what I mean? He stands in front of people and hopes you quit before he does, basically.
Yeah, what about some of the comments? Like comments and like, you know, we're seeing a lot of things on social media, MMA news outlets, even by so-called experts. Like, what pisses you guys off with what you're seeing in people's opinions, right? Because I'm seeing a lot of people saying like, oh, he worked on this for 4 weeks with this guy, and this guy's saying like, oh, there's no way he's going to be able to keep him down. And there's, you know, like another thing too for TJ is like, what's the difference between like, you know, I guess I'm asking a lot here, but what's the difference between grappling, wrestling, judo, BJJ, the clinch? Because people are talking about like somebody being strong in one area and that they're going to be able to, you know, implement that in their fight.
So I think people like this is a thing. Islam's style has literally been developed and polished since the time he was extremely young. And the style has not changed since then. It's only gotten better and more efficient, you know? Like when people talk about Sambo, like that's a very specific martial art to what Islam's really good at. You know what I mean? Like on top of that, Dagestanis are extremely good freestyle wrestlers as well. You know, so when you have the Sambo with the trips and the throws into MMA, so like he's been doing an MMA style of wrestling since he was young, which most people don't get that experience that as young as he did, you know? So it's completely different. I mean, like, and like I said before, it's like you can only get up so many times before it gets exhausting, you know? Like we watched Cain Velasquez versus Junior Dos Santos the second time they fought. Velasquez was just spamming takedowns, boom, and eventually Dos Santos withered away, and the fight was over. You know, I see a very kind of similar thing potentially happening. You know, probably a higher pace, but yeah.
That was brutal, man. I think those fights ruined Junior Dos Santos, man. I think they took years off his career, to be honest. 2 and 3. That guy has no quit, man. That guy's so tough. But
what about you? What do you think about like what people are saying online? And I know you watch a lot of videos. We all watch a lot of videos on like.
Yeah, no, man. It is so annoying. I get so annoyed. But I mean, what are you gonna do? But I think like if it's someone in his camp, what are they gonna say? Oh, he worked on this. Obviously, they're gonna, you know, hope for the best and say what they want to happen and wish to happen. But other people who actually believe that are out of their minds. I don't know how you think you could possibly do that. I don't know if they're just saying it to sell, and then people in the UFC might be saying it to sell the fight too, right? Like they might want to make it sound like, hey, who's gonna win? You know, because if you don't really know who's gonna win, that's what makes the fight exciting. If you kind of already think you know the result, it's not as exciting. So I don't know if these people are saying it to sell the fight. Then there's a lot of haters, you know, just like Conor fans who just don't like him. They'll say anything. And then, people who are delusional that think you can like gain that wrestling skill in that time is, I don't know. But yeah, no, people online are terrible, man. I feel like with social media, there's just so many stupid people that like, you know, now you get to see what they're saying as like opposed to before you would never associate with people like that anyway. So you would never really like hear those dumb opinions and comments and all that.
And here's another thing to note as well is like people don't realize how much how much easier it is to clinch and body lock somebody who's significantly smaller than you. You know what I mean? You're using a lot less strength and a lot less grip when you don't have to reach around a bigger body, right? So that like the clinch is like where Volkanovski's going to find himself in the most trouble, you know, like, and Islam isn't really a guy who does open mat shots. He likes to get to the cage and work from there. So it like that's where the fight's going to be won for sure. It's going to be on the cage, you know?
I think so too. He's really like crafty with his judo and his trips. So I think he's gonna like. I think that's how he's gonna get him to the mat too. I think he'll throw him or trip him up against the cage.
Yeah, I agree. He's got long legs too, Volkanovski. He's got like a short torso, long legs. I mean, he's not like, I don't know.
So do you guys think, like, I know he was throwing caution to the win last fight, but you know, him saying he's gonna knock Volk out, like, what % chance do you think that, you know, there is for that to happen?
0.
I said last fight, man. I know we talked about this not on not on a podcast or anything, but I thought Islam was gonna knock down Charles. And I don't know, man. I think he might surprise us again. Honestly, if it stays on the feet, I think.
If he comes out swinging like he did last fight, I mean, he's a big guy. I'm sure he's
All of it.
pillows. But
TJ's
Volk's so fast, bro.
TJ's
Volk's
zero
so
percent.
fast. Like his jab, like the way he improved his jab, like dude, he messed Holloway up that last fight. Like he answered
But when
any
I
questions
look
anyway.
at, like, I don't know what like motivation is a huge factor, right? And I know, like, I'm talking to people in his camp because, like, obviously, Coach Javier Mendez went over there probably 3 weeks before the fight. Khabib wasn't in his corner, even though he's checking in with him every day. A lot of people said that's going to affect him, but from what I hear, he's more motivated than ever. And when I look at people like Max Holloway, like, and with all due respect, one of my favorite fighters, to watch. I don't know, like, if like when I look at Volk's competition, I mean, you could say the same about Islam, but a lot of those guys aren't the same caliber as Islam. Like Ortega, Holloway, Chad Mendez at that time. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I mean, definitely he ain't touching up Volkanovski like that on the feet. I mean, that would be crazy to see, but I highly doubt that happens.
I don't know why I'm confident about it, that he's going to catch him, but I mean, like, again, I'm very biased. I'm way too biased.
Honestly, Volkanovski's probably praying that he does try to do that shit because that's his best chances.
Sure.
100%.
Bro, my blood pressure is going to be real high if he tries to stand and bang with him with his head up, and that's going to be a
straight up lost right now. I don't even know where I am. I'm not on my GPS.
TJ, where are you at these days?
Somewhere in Miami.
Toledo, Ohio, is where I live and stuff. But I'm driving up to Columbus for there's a jiu-jitsu event a couple of my teammates are in, so I'm gonna watch that. And then I have a reffing gig in Cleveland, so kind of just traveling around the Ohio area today.
Hey, I'll be in Cleveland 16th to the 19th.
All right, I'll be here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll be around.
Toledo's like 2.5 hours from Cleveland or something.
Like two. Sometimes it's only an hour and 45, depending on traffic.
Hour 30.
Yeah, sometimes 2 hours, depending, like I said, traffic and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty short.
What's up with, like, do you have any tournaments coming up? Because I know you had that fight and then it kind of fell through last minute.
I'm doing a combat jiu-jitsu match, which is pretty fucking dope. March 25th. So it's like jiu-jitsu, but there's slaps on the ground. So I
feel like that's your like forte, man.
This guy's fucked. Like, you know what I mean? Apparently, he's like he's been doing combat jiu-jitsu, like one of the first like people to do combat jiu-jitsu. But I mean, my whole career has been combat jiu-jitsu times 10, so I'm not too worried about it. My jiu-jitsu game's gone fucking crazy lately. I've improved so much over the last like 2-3 months.
Yeah, you're training with some monsters. So you're gonna do power slap after this or what?
Nah, bro. Nah, man. Power slap's the reason this fight's got no hype, bro. Straight up.
Dude, I can't believe Dana White paid us $30,000 to do this podcast right now and talk about power slap.
Oh man, that's embarrassing. Power slap's embarrassing.
You guys get your checks in the mail?
All right, one sec. Cops like fucking checking in on me. I guess I pulled over.
I should just tell me I had to take a very important phone call.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm gonna do.
Dude, just drop my name, dude.
Yeah, I will. All right, I gotta go.
All right.
All right,
Peace. TJ's going to jail for sure.
100%, man. I called the cops on actually, so.